What's going on, guys? So here it is, the brand new collaboration between Kotobukiya and Kojima Productions. They're a non-scale full-action plastic model kit of Ludens here. So, well, I guess this is not technically part of the Frame Arms Girl line just because it's not a Frame Arms Girl, just because it's based off an actual licensed character, sort of. It's basically a Frame Arms Girl kit, but obviously styled after the Ludens kind of mascot character of Kojima Productions. So it looks really awesome. This artwork, as well as I guess just the design for the kit itself, was all done by Yoji Shinkawa, who of course does all of the work, most of the artwork most of the time for Kojima games and things like that. So just the artwork here for the box, this illustration of the character just looking beautiful, but let's just get around to what else we can see and then we'll get into, of course, the review. So just on the front box art here itself, I just want to point out that the overall finish of it is in a matte finish, but you have the Ludens text there is in gloss, and then over here on the side where it says from Sapiens to Ludens is also in a gloss finish, so I'm not sure if you guys can see that reflection on there. So it's pretty cool, mix of the matte and gloss finish there just for the text. So very nice box as usual from Kotobukiya. So that looks really nice. And as always, guys, just if you're interested in checking out this kit or anything else similar to this, you can check out the link down below to US Gundam Store and use my coupon code there, ZakuAurelius10, and save 10% off everything there on the site. So here on this side of the box art, we can see we got a front and back look of the kit there with the suit and without the suit, or with the minimal suit, I guess we should say there, or the full suit, and does have the flag, and also has two versions of the flag. It has just a regular black version, and also has a clear version as well for the kind of hologram flag. So that looks really awesome. Just the character design, I mean, it looks great. I can't wait to build this kit. It looks so awesome. Over here we have a look at just a couple of sort of action poses. There is just holding the flagpole, I guess, which doubles as a spear weapon, I suppose, and then just sitting down there, of course, is going to sport the really nice articulation that we've come to expect from the Frame Arms Girl and Megami Device kind of line. So, and then gimmick, of course, you can just kit bash this with some parts. Those would be from the White Tiger kit, which is also a kit from the Frame Arms line that was designed by Yoji Shinkawa as well. So then over here we've got some different face options. As usual, we've got 3 different face options, but then we also have one more in that we can also make this masked face as well. So I should also just mention quickly that while I am a huge Kojima fan and Metal Gear fan, I've not yet played Death Stranding, so we'll just throw that out there. I know this is not necessarily from Death Stranding, but I'll just point that out that I haven't played that before we get any farther in this. And then we do have some waterside decals here, it looks like, included as well. Some really big Kojima production logos there in waterside decals, so those are really awesome. I guess those are meant to be used for the flag, but you can use those for other things as well, which might come in handy, so that's pretty cool. So the faces, they don't look really all that exciting, to be honest. You got basically just a couple variants that are barely recognizable, the difference between them, it looks like. And then anyway, here's what the kit is going to look like when it's just snapped up straight out of the box without any painting or anything. So you can see, even still, it's going to be looking pretty good just right out of the box. List price for this over here, you can see, is around 6,800 yen, so around 65-70 bucks for this kit. It's pretty standard, I suppose, for a Frame Arms kit like this, as a similar Frame Arms Girl kits. It's going to be around the same price, so not too bad in terms of the pricing. It's pretty standard for this type of kit. So we'll take a look at all the runners here in a moment. It looks like there's some pretty interesting stuff to see there, but let's just first take a look at the manual. So on the front of the manual, it's basically just kind of similar to what's on the front of the box. On the back, it's just kind of nothing there, so we can just open this up. And we got some more illustrations here from Yoji Shinkawa, just of the character design, it looks like. So there's just some close-ups of the face and the head, and then just the body there, kind of in the full suit and then in the lesser suit there. So very cool. And it just gets into the parts list here, and then I assume just straight on into the construction here. So it looks like with this you will be able to swap heads with the different Megami Device and Frame Arms Girl kits if you wanted, so you can switch out the heads, do some just typical kit bashing if you're interested in doing that. And it just goes all through the construction here, building up the different parts of that. So you build it up in kind of the lighter suit first, and then you build up the rest of the more heavier suit around that, or not around it, but just separately afterwards. And then just about the flag, and then just some different optional parts here. And then at the very back here we have our color guide over there, all in Japanese, and then that is just a couple of nice big sample images there, so you just see the colors, and then the decal guide here, so the decals, where those waterside decals are going to be placed around on the kit. it'll give you all the layout for those as well. Just some nice detail shots of the painted kit as well, so that looks pretty good. But let's get into the runners then. Alright, so first up, here's a look at those waterslide decals. You got the nice big Kojima Productions logo there in white, and then some other smaller decals, mostly in gray it looks like, and then some waterslide decals for the eyes, of course. Then we've got a few different other pre-painted parts here, but just the flag parts here. There's the black flag and the clear blue flag there with the logo pre-printed on there. And on the front, and on the blue one, it's only on the one side. I guess it would make sense if it was on both, then you'd be able to see that through. It wouldn't work very well, but it's cool that it's printed on both sides of the black flag. So these are really nice. Those look great. Got a couple more pre-painted parts here. It looks like this is just the spear tip part, looks like, with just the silver coating on that. And then this is the part for the head. It looks like is kind of like light gray part with a little bit of white pre-printed on there. And then we've got the main part of the spear here as well, which is in black and silver. Now you would think that this is maybe just black plastic with some silver pre-painting on it, but the black also seems to be sprayed on there as well. Then we've got our face options here, just kind of expressionless one, a kind of happy-ish one, and then a slightly angry face, I guess. We've got a PC runner here for some polycaps in flesh tone. Then we've got two sets of hands. Now this set seems like a pretty standard Frame Arms Girl set. You've got closed fists, open resting hands, open expressive hands, holding hands with the trigger finger extended, and then regular holding hands. But in a lighter gray color, we have a different set of hands. Now these actually have a little bit more detail on them and seem like these are specifically new hands for this kit. So you've got some holding hands here, which look like they're going to be for holding the flag, some closed fists, some open expressive hands, open resting hands, and then open hands with the trigger finger extended for holding onto the White Tiger's rifle, I guess, if you wanted to hold onto that, because this doesn't come with any armaments of any sort. I think it's just the flags, so that's pretty much it. Alright, so runner A here is in off-white for just some of the armor parts. Then runner B as well in that same off-white color. Runner C is in a little bit different color here. This is in kind of like light gray, light tannish sort of color for these parts here. Runner D, obviously some of our skin tone parts. Runner E, our hair parts in this blonde yellow color. Runner F is this one little part here, which looks to be like the eye shades for the mask face. Runner H here is in a third shade of gray, is sort of just kind of typical, usual light gray color. And then runner I is in a little bit darker shade of gray here for some of the joint parts and parts for the limbs. It looks like this is in a kind of, it's still a kind of warm shade of gray, but it's a little bit more towards the medium gray now. Runner J here in that same color, and you can see some parts here for the mask face there as well. And it looks like you're going to have a mask that is like an actual mask face, and then a mask that is just a mask that you can like just hold in the hand as well, just like a separate like accessory piece. And it looks like here is where the actual part for the flagpole or the spear, whatever, was actually cut from this runner. So I'm guessing the plastic underneath here is this same shade of gray. And then, yeah, it's just got this sprayed silver and black on top of it. Runner K is in a kind of metallic gunmetal color. It's pretty interesting. Runner L is in like a light tannish beige kind of color for some straps, it looks like. Runner M is another metallic runner in this kind of injected metallic copper sort of color for all these little bolt parts. Runner N is in another different shade of tan here for a couple of like hose parts and parts for the shoes. Runner O is back to the shade of gray that we saw on Runner H. And the same color here for the last runner. Runner Q in this case looks like some pretty standard joint parts like what you would typically see with a Frame Arms Girl kit. So all in all in there, it looks like we've got actually 11 different colors of plastic. And then I guess if you want to include the clear blue here as well, that would make 12 different colors of plastic you get included with this kit, which is pretty impressive. So I'm going to get this built up, and then I think it's going to be looking pretty cool. We'll see how it looks when it all comes together. Alright, so here's how she's going to look when she's all built up in the full suit, and I love the look of this. It's so cool how it's sort of very scientific, sort of sci-fi astronaut sort of look for this. It looks fantastic, and just all little detail parts, little hoses, like the straps all being in little different colors, and you have like the copper color like bolt parts on there as well. It's even just snapped up straight out of the box. This thing looks great. Definitely could use some panel lining on there a little bit, especially on like the white areas, of course. That would certainly help bring out more of the details, but it does look really good. I gotta say, at least in my opinion, I think Kotobukiya should do more collaboration with Yoji Shinkawa, because this one and also the Baihu Frame Arms Girl are two of my favorite Frame Arms kind of girl. I know this one's not technically a Frame Arms Girl, but two of my favorite Frame Arms Girl type kits that I've built from Kotobukiya. The Baihu was also a really fantastic, awesome looking kit. So while this one doesn't really have a whole lot in terms of like weapons and accessories and stuff, it looks awesome. So while all these little detail parts and everything all around here are all super cool, the downside though is that it joins, usually on these kits like the torso is separated into two parts with some articulation in the center between the chest and the stomach. But with all this stuff going on here, you have this whole front piece which covers the whole front, so it removes the articulation there between the two halves of the torso. And then the connection of these hoses from the torso to the backpack will remove the ability for you to even rotate the torso there either. So you have limited articulation once the backpack is on, but still, let's just go over the rest of the articulation that you do have. So the head, of course, has a double joint, a ball joint at the base of the head, and then another joint there at the neck where that plugs into the body. And the lower joint doesn't really give you much forward movement, but it does allow you to move the head back, but because we have the backpack here, it doesn't really allow you to do much of that either, so we'll see more of that later. Speaking of the backpack though, while we're here, if you want some more hard points for this, you can remove these parts here on the side. You've got some 3mm hard points there, or this main panel here at the top as well. You can remove this. There you go, and you've got 3 hard points there where you can plug on any sort of other extra option parts or something. But these shoulder armor bits can move a little bit on their own. You're able to bring the arm up ultimately to about 90 degrees there, like so. The arm will rotate there just above the elbow, and then you have an elbow joint that will give you a little bit more than 90 degrees, not too much more than that, unfortunately. And then the wrist is just a normal wrist. You have a hinge, and then that's able to rotate that as well, so pretty normal wrist action. The hip joint will allow you to bring the legs out to there, but it is the same hip joint that you're able to drop down slightly. That will give you a further range of movement, especially to the front. You can bring the leg really far up to the front once you drop that hip joint down a little bit. You're able to bend the knee at a full bend there, and a little separation with this knee armor there, which is just kind of connected in between these parts, so that looks really nice. And then the ankle joint also is on a ball joint there. The foot is connected to the ankle via a little ball joint there, so you're able to move that around a little bit. You can rotate that side to side. Really cool little shoes that she's got on here as well, boots I guess, and you can angle that forward and back like so. So again, these little strap parts here on the back, this is actually made up of 3 separate parts. You've got one that goes like that, and then one here, and then one here. And then these little detail parts are just really cool. It has just a lot of really nice detail on here, so you can see once this is all painted up and everything, it's gonna look really, really awesome. But even with pretty minimal accessories or weapons or anything, still, at least the spear does make for a pretty cool weapon, and I think it just sort of matches with the look of this somehow in a way. Yeah, Yoji Shinkawa does a really good job, I think. And as we'll see in a moment, how it doubles as a flagpole is also very cool, but even with the limited articulation there in the torso, you're still able to do some pretty cool poses with this. And you'll also notice, just on a side note, that the action-based connector point for this is on the underside of the backpack, so you won't actually connect anything onto the back. Now you could, if you were to, for whatever reason you wanted to omit the backpack, you'd have to omit all the straps and pipes and everything on there as well. And there's just where the backpack plugs into the back of the body, you could plug your action-based connector right into there, just your standard 3mm action-based connector. I gotta say, the skull face does also look really cool as well. Now, at first I was a little bit disappointed this didn't come with like some sort of option to build it as like the full helmet, which like has like this sort of like knight look to it, with a kind of like glass or visor clear part on the front of it, like we've seen like the official character from the Kojima Productions promotions and all that has the whole like full helmet. So I was kind of sad this didn't include that, but now I'm kind of totally fine with it. I don't know. I suppose more options is never a bad thing, so maybe if it would have included one, wouldn't have been too bad, but I'm okay with not having that as a part. The skull face is really cool as well, just by itself. But okay, so now to switch this to the, I guess we could call it light armor form. Switching out the arms and legs is very easy. You just pop those off and switch on the alternate form. Arm is gonna look like that, and the same thing for the leg. Just pop it off and switch it out. Now with these, like any of these kits, you will have some seam lines on some of these parts, especially on the limbs, so like on these flesh tone parts, and then elsewhere around in the kit, it will have some seam lines. But just to give you guys a little comparison there, the less and more armored versions of this, so you could have it half and half. The height isn't changed at all. It's not like the armored leg has more height onto it. I think you could just have it like this if you prefer to half and half. As for the head, the only thing you need to do actually is just to remove this part here out the back, and that is it. The torso is where it gets a little bit more complicated, because you have all this stuff going on here that you have to kind of remove in sort of reverse order of how it was applied. So you have to take off these tube parts, which are connected onto the front and onto the side, and also this strap part here on the front. You need to remove that, and And then you can take off these strap parts, this one here that goes underneath as well, and there you go. Finally, there's everything off of there, and then you can just swap out this front plate here. You just remove that, and then you have the alternate version, which is in fact 2 separate pieces, so you will have that articulation here in the torso restored in this low armor version like that. And now you have some articulation here that you couldn't do with all the full armor on. We do have a different form of the backpack here as well. It's just this kind of thing like this, and there's a hard point for plugging in the action base adapter there. Alternatively, like I said, if you didn't want to have anything on here at all, you could just plug it straight onto the back there, but we're just going to go ahead and put that on here like that. And these little bits here are on ball joints, so you can kind of move those around a little bit if you wanted. But there you go. There is the lesser suit version, or the minimal suit version, I guess you could say. And it's pretty awesome as well. So I gotta say, while this kit may be a little bit expensive, I love this collaboration. I really enjoy building the Frame Arms Girl kits, and I'm also a really big fan of Kojima and Yoji Shinkawa, so this is a really awesome collaboration for me. Really happy with this kit, and I really highly suggest it if you're also a fan like myself. I don't think I could demonstrably say that this is the best Frame Arms Girl type kit out there, but it's definitely one of my favorite now that I've built it. And keep in mind, I also haven't built all of them, but just of the ones that I've built, this one is definitely now one of my favorite. I like this kit quite a bit, so I can highly recommend it to any of you guys if you're interested in it. I think the kit just as it is, if you were to just paint it up and detail it up just as it is, also is really cool. But you know, if you wanted to get a little bit more creative, dressing it up with some other option parts, weapons, things like that, you could definitely do that as well. Make some really cool option weapons and things like that for this also could be pretty cool, using some different Kotobukiya MSG option parts or things like that. So again, guys, a big thank you to USA Gundam Store for their support. Check the link to their site there down below. If you guys have further questions or comments about this, let me know down in the comment section down below there as well. Hope the review was helpful or interesting for any of you guys who are interested in seeing a little bit more about this kit, or maybe if this passed under the radar for any of you guys, if you did miss that it was coming out at all. Hopefully now you're still able to get your hands on the kit if you do want to pick one up for yourself. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Bye, guys.